Good afternoon and good evening, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to another episode of Value First Data. We've made it to episode 9 with the 8th stage of the value path, the champion stage. Excited to be with two fellow HubSpot champions of the ecosystem, I think is fair to say, especially with the reigning community champion of the month, Clemen. How you folks doing today?
Doing well.
good.
Yeah, I laughed at Clemen's post because he said two future champions of the month.
My 12 points goes to Chris and Casey for sure for next year.
Well, you got a 31-day month, so like it's gonna be.
But it's Christmas, and the last week is stolen for me to celebrate my.
Oh man, yeah.
So next year, nominate me for something else, not December, please. HubSpot, thank you.
Indeed. So before we give Clemen the floor to teach us all how to be champions, last week we talked about advocates, and I'll go over the whole series after this first piece, because I think it's important to identify and talk about a comparison like between these two stages. When you're not thinking about this from the buyer's perspective, from the customer's perspective, it's very easy to like kind of group like testimonials and case studies and even like co-webinars, things like that. It's very easy to, oh, do they like us? Would they be willing to do something with us? Right? It's easy to group those things in the same bucket. But I think it's clear from watching the HubSpot ecosystem, being a part of it, there's lots of people that don't need to be asked to do anything to promote HubSpot on behalf of HubSpot and everybody in the ecosystem. So we have an immediate example of the difference between these two. But I'm going to share my screen. And then, so advocate versus champion. And the whole idea, if you remember the value path and value first data, is are we creating the space in our CRM, in our system of record, to receive data and understand data as it relates to where people are in their journey. So as you guys see this comparison, anything jumping out at you?
The building of communities versus sharing within their network. I mean, this just resonates with me because there are tools that I share with my friends, but I have friends because of HubSpot, and that's like different. Yeah, that's.
To me, the industry transformation is what is the difference. So one is, someone can mention, yes, we use HubSpot, and I tell others about using HubSpot. And then the next level as a champion is, sharing best practices, how you use HubSpot, how you think of using it, configuring it, adapting it to different businesses. This is the next level of a champion. And the other, I would say, is the continuity. Someone who is an advocate will mention it once in a while. A champion will keep talking about you because it's a raving fan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think there's be a slight difference in terms of like proactive versus reactive here. Casey, you've done a lot of work to start up, the Sprocketeer weekly, now bi-weekly Power hours. I think that's a good example. I'm not sure if anybody specifically asked you or Darcy, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. How did that come to pass? I think that's a good example of what we're
Mhm.
talking here versus like, okay, just hanging out in Sprocketeer and Slack and like answering questions when they come up, helping people understand how to use HubSpot. Did you know this is available? That's kind of advocacy versus like, all right, let's try to take it to another level and get people together.
Yeah, so with that, Cameron Collins, who runs the Sprocketeer Slack community, he made a post earlier this year, saying, kind of calling for anyone that wanted to help with anything. He was like, if you have an idea, let me know and we'll like make it happen. Was generally the message, or how I read the message at least. And so I reached out to him after that, and I spitballed a couple of like kind of random ideas. None of them were quite office hours, but they were office hours similar. I had suggested like even like a daily stand-up situation, just for people who are kind of like solo workers like myself. And he at that point looped me in with Marcy, who I do the weekly power hour with, and she had also kind of reached out about having some sort of networking thing. And that's all of that to say that's kind of how it evolved into the biweekly meeting of minds. But yeah, it started genuinely as me being like, to be honest, Chris, it started because I, for years, was working by myself and it felt very lonely. And then I remembered, though, when I worked in an agency, we had a daily stand-up where we just kind of went through what we were working on that day, but also chatted, and it was nice. And then when I started doing the morning show with you, Chris, and George, it kind of felt similar, where like there are these people that I talk to every morning, and like, you know, we talk about updates, but also like I know when they're sick and when they're when there's a 2-hour school delay. I don't like, and it's just stupid stuff, but like just that like level of connection. And I know there's other people in the HubSpot community looking for that too. So I was trying to find a place.
Speaking of the morning show, how did that start?
Chris?
Well, definitely, I think a lot of the content that I do is a good example of this in terms of it's not just about helping people use the current tool set in HubSpot. It's about like doing things better and trying to overcome like long-standing challenges, which ended up turning into value first as well. But like, you know, as a practitioner, kind of watching all the challenges out there, watching Kyle do his best to evangelize and help people understand what's available. But simple math, Kyle's one person, there's 300 plus days in a year, there's 1,000 updates in a year, and we have a huge gap, knowledge gap. So I started doing content in March of last year, every day for Let's Build, just with the intent of whatever's on my mind with HubSpot, just getting in there and doing stuff. But then in Q4 of last year, I think is when it was, I said, why not the Daily Show? Like if we're getting hit with updates every day, like 5-10 updates, I mean, it makes for good content. It helps keep me up to speed on HubSpot. Like that's like the magic of doing this content, is like it's the best way to learn. And I was doing it by myself and playing with I actually created a lot of different formats where it was like, okay, there's going to be an object of the day, and there's going to be, we're going to go over to Reddit and a lot of the things that are happening in various places now. But like, I couldn't even get to the extra stuff because it was just updates. There's so much updates, right? And so that was Q4 of last year. And as I started up, I put Casey on the spot one day, and she said yes. And then,
well, my favorite part of this story is that Chris said, okay, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. And I said, yep, that's fine. And then he said, okay, every day next week, right? And I said, yep, that's what I thought.
We're aligned.
and then we were at it for about a month, and George got to talking with George about it, and that's how that came to pass. So I think that's, thank you for highlighting that example. But Clement, I think for you either way, and after we kind of talk about these examples, like we'll get into some other details here, especially what companies do wrong when thinking about this stage. But the data summit that we did in August of last year, right before Inbound, I think was a good example of this. What was your experience on getting that together?
It all started with, I think, your thought after one of our weekly shows. What if we bring experts from the community sharing their point of view around data with the idea, hey, at Inbound, things will change. And data is the foundation for everything. So we better start talking about it sooner than later. Is there a way we can put together a big chunk of content where initially we had a much more involved idea of what the data summit will be and how it will be structured with workshops and everything. But with Inbound coming and everything, we realized, okay, if only we bring together those 25 experts talking about things related to data, this is a huge value for anyone getting their mindset ready for Inbound. And the best part for me was no one said no to just participate and share the knowledge. Of course, it was a lot of coordination and everything, but people were happy to participate, just share their point of view. And we covered all 8 stages from different perspectives. I had a really good time during the summit, learned a lot in 8 hours. It was a long day, but I think we really created a really good piece of content, not necessarily only related to HubSpot, but starting off from experts in the HubSpot community, where it all kind of united around HubSpot as a platform through which you think and talk about data directly in HubSpot. So it was really a HubSpot community event, not labeled as that, but it all started from the community and how the community around HubSpot is already connected. Anyway, that's why I think people were willing to jump in.
Yeah, and as I share this, like where the data summit, like the seed that got us started talking about it was Clement had made a post about, is every HubSpot portal just dirty? Something like that. Does everybody have bad data?
Yeah.
And there was like 100 comments. that said, yep. And that was it. Like no fixes, no, like outside of a couple people saying like, come like sign me, come
Buy
like
my
come pay me
Yeah.
money and I'll help you fix it.
Mhm.
And that's where like it moved quickly, or that's where we took it from like, okay, we can't just watch this problem. Like if we don't create the event, then it is advocacy is, yeah, you can use HubSpot. Here's some ways to use HubSpot to help with this problem. But instead going a different route, say like, we've got to figure out how to at least talk about this problem like productively so that we don't just have 100 comments that are like, yeah, the data's bad. Like, I guess we just have to deal with it. And I think as we brought the summit together, we didn't have any points programs for the people involved. We didn't have any incentives. Like, not only did nobody say no, nobody asked for leads lists or like what's in it for me or like any of the usual stuff that when you're not a part of the community, this is where like if you just have your stages of customer and an evangelist or customer and champion in HubSpot, that means everybody's a customer unless the 1 in 1,000 like are starting to champion, and you probably don't even track that. But if they're just in a customer bucket, that means you're always going out to them to ask for referrals and testimonials and all these things. And when that doesn't work, you try to manufacture like loyalty programs and all the traditional ways. Like, oh, well, it's not working because there's nothing in it for them. So how do we motivate them? Right. And what we're seeing on the right is like the reason that everybody was engaged to do the data summit is it's a major problem that we have to deal with every day. And if we can get any help like from each other to help solve this problem and help the community solve it, that's what's in it for us. Right, from a large perspective, obviously personal branding, all that stuff, but that stuff, like, you can't own that as a company. And if we're not engaged, if we're not motivated to do that thing, we see this with influencer like marketing all the time. Like, you see right through all those posts. We talked about that a little bit last week. But does that resonate, Clement, as far as like what we experienced on the way?
Yeah. I would say even for each of the roundtable participants, it was kind of an eye-opening discussion. So experts talking to experts around something related to data. I saw many faces. Oh gosh, yes. Okay. Now I'm I don't know. I'm at a different level of my mindset. So yeah, just creating a place for that was, I think, valuable for each and every one.
Yeah. And I think this here, like, would they contribute the same way without the incentive? Right. It's another easy question that you learn very quickly, like whether it's survey, any kind of outreach where we're incentivizing with gift cards. Like, I had a subject line in my inbox today: I will pay you to talk to me. Like, and then it was a really, really good, clearly AI built first paragraph. It was really, really good until it managed to cram in like every single keyword that was in my LinkedIn profile, like a big buzzword paragraph.
Nuts. Yeah, sorry.
And then I was like, I'll give you a $10 gift card. It's like, no, like, you're totally missing the mark. And even if I did feel like a gift card that day, I'm not giving you great feedback or answers, or, if I were to do a post, like, it wouldn't engage anybody. So and that's where, like, the earlier stages, you can start to do some of that just to get like voice of customer going and things like that. But when you're in this is where you start to almost offend like champions. Like, I'm out here every day and you're offering me like a $10 gift card. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
do you guys have any recent examples of maybe some of these things not working out so well for companies that you know?
I worked with a company who was trying to get a paid ambassador program off the ground. And we were having a lot of trouble with it. And at some point, I kind of had to have a conversation with the team. And I was like, is the product good? Like, like, and that was even like trying to pay people to like do it. But in the same vein, like, you know, if people aren't excited about what you're doing, they're not gonna advocate, they're not gonna champion you. Like, you have to deliver in order to get anything back.
A good example of LinkedIn post where I'm not convinced it makes sense, but I guess it does because many companies are doing it, are those gurus talking about a tool, which you clearly see is just a long chunk of marketing verbiage of that company with the link to that company's LinkedIn page. Nothing more than that. I doubt any of them use that tool they're advocating for, but I'm sure they're paid for it. And you see that from the post, which means, okay, someone was paid to say something, but I'm not sure this is the way how you want to bring your brand to the world outside. If the only way how you can amplify your reach is through paid, not advertised paid, but paid posts through gurus, if you don't have other raving fans, I mean, is that tool really that good as they're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're going to talk about loop marketing in a few minutes, how this relates, but like the whole amplify stage, right, is supposed to be about finding, whether you call it key opinion leaders or influencers or people with audiences that really need to be aligned, but that's not made crystal clear in the instructions. Just go find other people with audiences that can spread the word, right? And in a lot of spaces, it's well known like how fragile that is, even to like the detriment. Like, if you don't do that the right way with the larger audiences, it can definitely come back to bite you. And what's interesting as I share these signal categories, like up to now, and I'd say if we're giving people the benefit of the doubt, and why they run to like paid activities, like most of the time it's because they're measurable, they can try to prove ROI, right? And this kind of stuff that we're talking about was not so easy to track, not measurable. And what we're seeing with the value path is that you can build HubSpot now in a way that helps you track this activity, that enables the activity, right? We've shown many examples of signals already coming in to HubSpot, buyer intent, like people publishing articles, speaking at events, right? It's a category. HubSpot's already giving you this data. If you tell them who to track, HubSpot can already give you this data. So real quick, content creation, community leadership, industry recognition, methodology contribution, kind of what we're doing here. In addition to like, George doing a series on the Loop marketing, playbook as a whole. He's in the middle of like an 8 or 9 episode series of his podcast, right? Peer mentorship, a lot of that happening within Profoundly and Sprocketeer and just HubSpot community in general. And thought leadership. And this is where like, why this is value first data. We're talking about this. Can your CRM track when somebody transitions from, oh, they gave you a testimonial to, oh, they're doing shows about HubSpot? And I can tell you, when I'm trying to give benefit of the doubt, the systems have not been in place. And even though HubSpot can do it, the big companies like HubSpot have not implemented this stuff yet, because it drives me crazy when I meet somebody new at HubSpot and I have to explain what I do to them. Like, do they not have a CRM contact record that says Chris Caroline and like could show like even 5% of the stuff that I do? And it becomes very clear the more that I've worked with HubSpot over the last 10 years, if they're on a different team, they have different records that they're looking at, and it's just walled gardens everywhere, permissions everywhere. The product team can't see what sales sees. And it's, I guess I'm a glutton for punishment there, because it hasn't driven me away. But imagine when it comes to like ROI calculations of how much the community is actually worth. Right? How much the academy is actually worth. And we're trying to help, had lots of conversations with Gabby from the community team about this. Like, she knows that they've got to figure out a way to activate the community outside of the walls of HubSpot owned properties. And now she's having a lot of fun with signal recognition, right? With AI being able to see across the landscape, the entire digital landscape, who's talking about it, who is doing stuff like this. And so I'm not surprised to see Clement show up as a champion of the month. And I expect we'll see, more of that, moving forward, going way beyond the points structures of old, right?
Yeah, because so if you're watching this and you don't know, the Community Champions program has a point structure. And you get points for doing things. I've never been good at it. That's kind of a lie. When I first joined the program, I was like very regimented about my points. I didn't want to leave the program. I was like, I have to maintain my points. But then once I started kind of finding my footing in my own voice and my own like platform, which feels weird to say. I don't have my platform, but once I started finding my footing, I feel like I focused less on HubSpot's like point structure, because I was doing stuff outside of that, but still like creating HubSpot content, still being a champion for HubSpot. It just wasn't always fitting into like their point box. And every time I was doing something to fit into their point box, to the whole advocate thing, it felt less authentic. Like, it would be like, make a video about this feature. And then I was just like making these videos about features that like I didn't care about. Like, I don't know. One time I was like, share this video, and it was like all HubSpot employees talking about something. And I was like, all right. I was like, I'll do it. Seems easy, but like weird.
I totally feel you. That's, when I joined the advocacy community was when I started thinking of applying for being a correspondent. Then I realized, okay, I need to join the advocacy group. And there are some points you need to earn. So at the beginning, guys, started ticking the boxes to get enough points so I could apply to be a correspondent.
Mhm.
But immediately after that, I felt, okay, chasing those points is not how I want to contribute to the community. I just stopped doing that at all. I engage in the community portal when someone tags me, and I feel I have something to say, but I don't monitor that community there. I rather dedicate my energy to LinkedIn because this is where I anyway am present.
Yeah. And to be clear, there's some really active and really great people that are active in the community forums. Christoph is very smart, very active, very quick to respond. I remember when I started trying to participate in the community, I was like, I can't answer any of these. He's
There's always
an answer fast enough. But that's where like there's space. Like that's when it was like, okay, this doesn't feel like my space. So I found a different space.
Yeah.
To me, what felt, sorry, Chris, I'll let you go. I thought, to me, what felt not the place where I really want to engage was, this is a space where more technical questions are asked. Something is broken. I don't know what to do. Is that feature still available? Those are the types of questions I was finding in the community portal, where I don't feel I belong there. As I don't have a 10 years history working with HubSpot. I was never part of an agency, a solution partner. So I don't feel I'm the one who should be answering those questions. Where on LinkedIn, I can talk about different things still related to HubSpot, how you should use HubSpot in a better way and how to better use it. Where that content fits more to the LinkedIn community than that community portal with questions and answers.
But I think that's what makes us like champions in the way you're defining it, Chris, is because when the box that we all reached at some point, it didn't fit, then we were like, we didn't give up. We didn't say like, never mind, I'm just not going to talk about HubSpot because I don't really like this. We kept talking about it. We just did it in a way that felt more authentic to us.
Yeah.
And now
as you might imagine, I never reached that box. This is the kind of stuff where it's just like, if it's performative in any way, like I'm just don't want to do it. But luckily this is an example of how the systems we have like kind of trap good humans to keep doing things a certain way. Like I remember, I don't think Gabby was the first person I talked to from the team, but in 2024, so long ago, I ran into this, and it was like maybe coming from a place of, let me see if I can, I'd already been doing content. Let me see if I could get involved in the community space. But it was just, it was like I would have to manufacture this activity, right? And whoever was on the other side, we'll just pretend it was Gabby. She's had a lot of conversations, like, because it was kind of like, I don't have points, but if you can like see everything I'm doing over here, that I'm kind of invested in HubSpot and the community, and I'm adding a lot of value. So hopefully I don't have to come over and fit it in this little box over here, because that's going to reduce the actual value that I'm able to create. And she's like, oh yeah, we get it. We're working on programs to like expand. And, but that was an example of like, this is the way it used to be done, right? It's now we're transitioning, and now that AI is here in full effect, it's getting easier and easier. You just have to make the decision to not have to own everything, to try and take these new strategies. And honestly, like you're going to have a hard time finding this in the Loop marketing resources. But that's for us as champions are here to help explain the framework. Because that's exactly what Loop is trying to help you do,
Mhm.
right? The different lens I put on it is, again, always thinking from the customer's perspective, right? In that we've talked about the Loop existing at each stage of the value path, right? As it's really like a RevOps. It's a RevOps systems framework is what the Loop really is. So if we have Express, will this help them get clearer on, the way that we talk about HubSpot? Like a classic conversation is the HubSpot admin versus HubSpot consultant versus HubSpot like all the different ways, like those are active conversations. Like, do we have the language we need, to share? And but at Champion, like we start creating our own language, right? And try to, because we're closer to the market, we hear what resonates, what doesn't, and we try to shape the conversations, right? Tailor customizing approaches. Like we hear this a lot, like manufacturing versus SaaS versus fintech versus healthcare. Like every single one of those domains has different ways of talking about the same things. It's HubSpot needs a group of champions because HubSpot cannot have all of that language built into their, localized domain.
Mhm.
Amplify, right? There our own platforms and communities. We've already talked about that a little bit.
Mhm.
And this example of like, yeah, we still get to be a correspondent, even though we didn't get the points because we were adding value in the places where we hang out, right?
Mhm.
And then evolving, like we can, like the correspondence program, like we got and when I talk about HubSpot, the things they do, they're enabling the things that we choose to do, like
Mhm.
with our time. Like when we get to record live at Inbound in the meeting, that wasn't available last year, but they are able to see data that says maybe that's a good idea. Maybe we should let these people who are loud and proud about HubSpot, give them more space,
Mhm.
right? And then right after, of course, there was an ask for data about how it went, right? So that we could learn, and it exceeded expectations. And,
Mhm.
We expect it to increase next year when it's back in Boston. But this is, um, hopefully this is helpful because the frameworks are here. It's really just the decision. That's what this whole series is about. Like you can track this stuff now, right? It's never been easier
Mhm.
once you make the decision, like to track it.
Mhm.
And if you need help, like to get to like how would I even decide I want to track that, like unified customer views, if you can define that for your organization, and that is going to require sitting people down who are going to be like, I'm looking at a HubSpot contact record right now. Is everything I know to be true about this person? And starting to get outside the lines of deals and just sales CRM stuff. If they say things like, oh yeah, I saw them post about this thing on LinkedIn a couple days ago and I commented and there was a really good exchange back. If that's not in the CRM, it could be now
Mhm.
very easily, actually. Social tools in HubSpot make that very easy to bring into the CRM.
Mhm.
That's, I think, how we're getting to the decision of, yeah, let's track all this stuff.
And that's only now, I think, possible with AI, being able to listen and understand whatever and wherever people talk about you, so they can, you can now use everything that you can listen to, and then structure it in a way that it's then useful to score, to progress contacts through that value path directly in HubSpot.
It's been a fun series, folks. This is where we've been. Audience, researcher, hand raiser, buyer, value creator, adopter, advocate, and now champion. We're doing something fun, at least for us. Again, like, at worst case, like, we're learning, we're having fun. But we are getting good feedback about how much this framework is resonating with people. So we'd love to have you join us next week on December 17th. A group of Value First practitioners are getting together to show some stuff actually built out in HubSpot. Is the goal. It might take us 1 or 2 or 3 tries to get in there, and just like, we're in HubSpot all the time. Like, we're seeing new stuff like every day. Like, HubSpot is trying very hard to allow for these kinds of experiences inside of HubSpot. So next Wednesday, December 17th at 2 p.m. Central, we're going to be getting together to get inside of HubSpot and see what this looks like. Any final thoughts as we wrap up this part of Value First Data?
It's been nice. It's been good learning through this. I was just talking to a client about the paths today and how they fit in. I think it's transformative in a way that is going to take some people some time. But my favorite thing about it is, and you say this all the time, Chris, when you talk about it, it's like natural path of human paths. Like, we're not putting these random words on people that we being RevOps, marketing, sales, whoever, made up.
To me, the aha moment, I think, happened at 6th or 7th or one of those episodes, when it was for 4 or 5 weeks straight we were talking about data and value path, and after, let's say, 5 hours of talking about it, it was okay. Things are coming together. I mean, I knew it's good from the beginning, but no, after several episodes, to me it was really eye-opening that, okay, that's something I can internalize, and every time I talk with that mindset to clients or internally, it was okay. we can build on that. It's clear in 5-10 minutes when you approach that. And this is, I think, how we can really help the community go beyond life cycle stages, which in every portal we're at, it's not what they need in terms of measurements. They're just, it's a bad proxy for what they want to measure and what they need. And this is, I think, the framework, the approach of how you do stuff to get to the right data, so you can have informed discussions and decisions of how you can evolve as a business on top of the data you can gather.
Indeed. So that's where we'll wrap for next week. Again, check us out. The workshop, December 17th, 2 p.m. Central. We'll be streaming live from LinkedIn, maybe some other places too. Stay tuned. Well, thank you to Clement and Casey so much. This has been a fun series, and this won't be the end of Value First Data, but we're going to get practical moving forward, try to get into the how, so that we can help people, do some more Value First Data. So thank you both so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Have a
both.
great week, everybody.
See you next week.